Amid heightened tensions in the West Philippine Sea, a former AFP officer recently suggested that the Philippines look for economic leverages against China. To expand on this idea, we have with us today Credit Rating and Investment Services Philippines Chief Economist Emmanuel Leyco. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, Diego, and thank you for having me back.
Yes, sir. I'm sure you've heard former AFP Rear Admiral Romel Jude Ong's suggesting that looking for trade leverages against China. Among them is their access to nickel, given that we are at least their second largest supplier and trade partner with this. How else does Beijing's trade benefit from the Philippines?
Well, actually, it's not. He's not the only one who's advocating trade embargo on China. But then, when we look at the purpose of embargoes, this is done by countries who have a strong leverage to apply pressure, use trade as a pressure on their adversaries.
Okay.
For example, the oil exporting countries, they did the trade embargo or oil embargo in the 70s. The US, Russia, and even China may apply trade embargo because they have the power, they have the strength. They are major trading countries. But in the case of the Philippines, we can do that, but we have to make sure that we have alternative sources of our imports, cheaper imports perhaps, or even export countries where we can export our products to. Trade is a very delicate issue to deal with. We say we do a trade policy, but then we have to make sure that the economy will not suffer from it. I wish the Philippines is in a better position to say that we are not going to sell you this because we are the only source. So they say, well, nickel is a very good product, very good commodity, but we are not the only one that they can get nickel from.
If we do, sir, decide to go down this route and imposing sanctions against China, would it make a significant dent in their economy to a point that their stance in the West Philippine Sea would soften a bit?
I don't think so. Our trade with China actually was looking at the trade numbers. We import more than we export. And if we lose China as a source of origin of cheap products, our economy will suffer. We will have to be forced to import from countries where their products are more expensive. And we also have to look for countries we can export our products to. So I'm afraid that the trade policy or a trade weapon is not available to the Philippines. Well, perhaps if we are more independent, say, for example, we produce more than we import, we will be fine. Unfortunately, that is not the case.
Okay.
We import more than we export, and we import a lot to fulfill the requirements of our economy.
How about, sir, would you recommend that the Philippines partner with like-minded countries in strategizing economic leverages against China? Maybe a unified front will make China rethink its policies.
If that is possible, why not? But the countries, say, for example, in the ASEAN or in the Southeast Asian nation, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, they will also have to worry about their own economies. If they benefit more by trading with China, I don't think we will be able to organize a trade partner or a trade party, to have a common policy against China. Yes, if we can explore that. But given the differences, given the economic interests of these countries, it will be very difficult to do so.
If we still explore this idea, sir, do you think we fear a retaliation from China if we impose sanctions?
Of course, because sanctions not a one-way street. We can do an embargo, or we can do a blockade, or, well, not exactly blockade, but we can do a boycott of Chinese products. of course, they will also retaliate, and they can retaliate by saying, we're not going to export to you anymore. And there goes the number one source of our imports. They can also say, we're not going to value the migration to China. We're not going to allow Filipinos coming into China. So that will be very difficult. It has a lot of implications, has a lot of consequences that we have to think through before we make a policy statement.
Now, sir, the Philippines recently withdrew requests for funding of its railway projects. Now, after Beijing ignored follow-ups from Manila, does China's lack of response have anything to do with tensions in the disputed waters?
Well, even during the Duterte administration, they made promises that they did not deliver on. So I think even before the West Philippine Sea issue came about, the Philippines was not on top of their agenda when it comes to economic support. So the agreements that they have signed, it's just simply that the Philippines is not on top of their agenda.
And sir, well, we have, aside from the economic aspect, how then else can the Philippines imply even a slight pushback against China for all the aggression in the disputed waters in the West Philippine Sea?
I think that is where international diplomacy should come in. The Philippines can go to the United Nations. The Philippines can work with other countries who have similar interests, and they can apply more of a political campaign. They can wage a political campaign, international political campaign against Chinese aggression in Philippine waters. But definitely the economic sanction may not have a potential or strength, the same impact that it will have if it were being done by countries like the US, Russia, or even China. We're too small to be a major player in economic trade embargoes, economic trade sanctions. So I think the political, international political lobbying, international political campaign should be pursued by the Philippine government.
Thank you very much, sir, for your insights and for joining us this morning. That was Emmanuel Leyco of Credit Rating and Investment Services, Philippines. Thank you and good morning.
Good morning, Diego. Thank you.